Now that you've learned about primitive data types, let's do a sample program. We're going to choose a cell phone contract. Suppose you want to compare the cost of two cell phone plans with ATV telecommunications. There's the Super Saver, which costs $39.99 a month for 500 minutes, with additional minutes costing 5 cents each. And there's the Big Talker, costing $59.99 a month for 1,000 minutes, with additional minutes costing 3 cents each. If you talk for 1,200 minutes a month, which plan should you choose? Well, we're not really ready to write a program yet, so what we're going to do instead is make some decisions that we're going to use in a program that we're going to write eventually. First, let's choose some variables. So we're going to need to choose both a type and an identifier. First off, time. We have two variables that are involved with time. There's the number of minutes per month and the number of minutes you talk every month. Both of these variables should be of the same type. Our choices really are int and double because they're both numeric. Now, int would be used for things without a decimal point, and double would be used for things with a decimal point. Because these are both integral, that is, they don't have a decimal point, at least in the view of the cell phone company, both of these should be integers. So our variables should be int plan minutes and int talk minutes. We also have money in this problem. Now, at first you might think, well, dollars have a decimal point in them, so definitely they should be a double. But it's a little more complicated than that. Even though dollars have a decimal point, pennies don't, and pennies are indivisible. That is, you can't charge half a penny for something. So this means that our monthly cost and our cost for additional minutes should be integral, not double. They should be ints. So we'll have int monthly cost pennies and int additional minute pennies. Notice that I've put the unit in the name of the variable. This helps you remember that you stored it in pennies instead of thinking that it's dollars later. And of course, we're going to need the name for a plan. That's going to be a string because there are multiple characters in it. So it will be string plan name. So here are the rules that we've come up with. Numbers are either int or double, depending on where the decimal point should be placed. And you have to think very carefully about things like money. Single characters are char, but we didn't have any of those. What we had were multiple characters, and those are stored in a string. So here's some food for thought. Every semester I have a student that asks me, why don't we just make everything double? Well, there's a really good reason, and you'll see it as we work through some of the examples later on. When things are double, it's hard to do equality comparisons because doubles aren't stored exactly in the computer. They're stored approximately. And so equality doesn't work the way it should. Whereas with integers, because integers are stored exactly, equality works correctly. So that turns out to be really important. And why didn't we consider things like long, short, and float? You probably read about those in the textbook. Well, there's a good reason to not consider those, and that's that it simply doesn't matter. There really is no difference in the amount of memory that's used that's worth talking about. And so we usually make everything that's integral int and everything that's floating point double.